Hey everybody, Rob here from More Music in Evansville, Indiana, and moreguitars.com. So we're so excited because today is the day that we unveil our first Paul Reed Smith Silver Sky, the guitar of much talk and controversy on the interwebs and beyond. So what we're going to do, here's what we're going to do today. If you noticed, my buddy Ed here is blindfolded. He has not had a chance, he has not had the Silver Sky in his hands yet. So we're going to play a little trick on him today, and hopefully this will be some good fun. So I've got two guitars here right by my side. I've got the Paul Reed Smith Silver Sky in the onyx finish. We've also got the brand new, just released Fender American Original Series 60's Strat that is supposed to be a tribute to, the 65 era Fender Stratocasters. The reason why I've picked that guitar is that if you've done any reading about the Silver Sky, that essentially it was designed after, it was designed with trying to be kind of the best of like a 60s era Strat. That's kind of what it was modeled after. So there's some similarities. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand Ed both guitars, and we're going to let him tell us which one he thinks it is, okay? So we're just going to have a little fun, and then we'll talk about both guitars. So here we go. So Ed, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I've told him he can't touch the knobs, he can't touch the switch, anything. I'm handing him the guitar, ready to play.
All right, change channels.
All right, don't tell us yet what you think this
right.
one is, okay? You ready for the next guitar?
Yep.
Okay.
Want to tune that?
Okay, so I'm trying to trick you, okay, if you haven't figured this out yet. So I'm going to give you a third guitar into the mix.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So you got to remember kind of what we'll get to the, what do you think number one was, what do you think number two was, and ultimately what do you think number three was? Do you want to play any of them again, or do you think you got it figured out?
I think I got it figured out.
Okay. So what do you think you're holding?
I think I'm holding the Silver Sky.
What do you think the second guitar was?
I don't know.
And what do you think the first guitar was?
I think the first was the Strat.
But you're not sure what the second.
No.
Okay. All right. You can take your blindfold off. So you're right. This is the Silver Sky, and the first two guitars were the same. There was the Fender.
Oh, okay.
What do you notice right away? Differences.
I mean, honestly, they're so similar in feel. Really, I just.
And I thought audibly they sounded pretty darn close
Yeah.
too. I think that the Silver Sky maybe has a little bit clearer, a little more articulation, a little clearer maybe.
Does it sound like a little bit brighter?
A little brighter.
That's what I thought, yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
the clarity that I'm hearing.
Those are cool. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had anything to do with this guitar. I haven't played it. I haven't really looked at it.
Yeah, it's really your first experience with it, right?
Yeah, and especially, I mean, I knew I was going to get one in, so I didn't want to have like a, you know, once the initial predictable opinion, blah blah blah, hit and it got kind of negative, I just ignored it.
Yeah.
And then I saw John put out some videos, and I didn't want to watch them because I wanted my own, you know, take on the guitar.
Yeah, which is what everybody needs to. Everybody needs to make up their own mind about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll put it on the clean channel.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
So one of the things you had mentioned that you really were looking forward to doing was to do some bends on it and see if it chokes out or if it sustains.
Yeah, that was the first thing I did on the. Yeah. It's all good. I remember a year ago sitting at dinner with Paul, and he's like, "Listen to this pickup," you know, on his iPhone at a table with like 10 people, and we're like, "Yeah, it sounds great." But that was like the big breakthrough for him.
I don't know if I've read some stuff over the last couple of days that John's kind of put out since the guitar's, you know, out there now, and some people are getting their hands on it, and it kind of made sense, you know. Obviously, they kind of modeled this guitar, you know, arguably kind of the best era in a lot of people's minds for the Strats were the 60s, okay? I guess John's got like a 64, or maybe there were a couple of, there were like 63s and 64 Strats that Paul and John had kind of picked out as the models for this guitar, and this is kind of supposed to be kind of the best of maybe those 2 years combined. And one of the things that John said that I thought kind of made sense, but is still going to have to kind of remain to be seen with this guitar, is that with Fender Strats, and John's, you know, John's a fan of the guitar. We're fans of guitars. You know, it can be a Fender. We're fans of Fender. We're fan of Gibson. If it's a guitar, it's a nice guitar. It's a good guitar. We're all probably going to be a fan of it.
Absolutely.
Paul Reed Smith's a fan of guitars. He's a fan of amplifiers. John Mayer is a fan of guitars. He's a fan of amplifiers. You know, he still loves Fender instruments. He still plays Fender instruments. And this guitar is meant to coexist. It's not meant to be a replacement. It's not meant to be, hey, mine's better than yours. He wants this to be enjoyed with Fender amps and against other Fender guitars. But his what he said, it made sense, was you could line up 100 Strats, and out of 100 Strats, you know, there's going to be a handful, perhaps, that have magic to them. And if you're a guitar player for any length of time, if you've played a lot of different guitars, you probably understand what that means. There's just guitars that have mojo, that have magic from the moment you pick them up, and there's guitars that aren't. And there's inconsistency sometimes within manufacturers and models. And John's point was you could line up 100 Strats, a handful of them are going to have mojo to them, how do you figure out what makes that mojo and then replicate that 100% of the time in an instrument? And that was their goal with the Silver Sky. And also to make, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of us that can't just afford to go out and buy an original 60s Strat out on the used market. For a lot of us, that's out of reach. This is a way to give you what that guitar offers in a guitar that's accessible to everybody. Arguably, it may not be your price point, it might not be mine, but it's an attainable instrument, whereas an original 60 Strat may not be. So that is the Paul Reed Smith Silver Sky. We're so excited to get our first one in, and there's going to be many more to come. So we're glad you joined us today. Again, I'm Rob, this is Ed. We're coming at you from More Music in Evansville, Indiana, and of course, moreguitars.com. Appreciate you joining us. Come back and check out more of our video content. Thank you.